Well, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me for your 10 a.m. news and weather update. I'm Bailey Bockover. First Alert meteorologist Russell James will be joining us very shortly. I know many of you are going to be interested in what's going on outside, especially with Hurricane Erin. We'll get to that in just a few moments. But first, Emerald Isle has taken down their lifeguard towers due to potential storm surge rather, but keeping the red flags up at their beaches. So with Hurricane Erin expected to bring rough surf and storm surge along the coast, the beaches on the Crystal Coast are clearly bracing for impact. Emerald Isle officials say red flags will continue to fly on the beaches due to dangerous rip current conditions. They're urging people to stay out of the water during this time. Officials say they've also taken down the lifeguard towers on the beach due to storm surge along the coastline that could knock them down. Instead, lifeguards will be patrolling the beach where passage is allowed. Guards will also be positioned at the beach ramps, and response will be by the roadways during the high tide. Hurricane Erin weakened to a Cat 2 storm this morning, but the impacts along our coast are still expected to be significant with gusty winds and beach erosion. Hatteras Island evacuations are continuing as Hurricane Erin approaches, with some saying that it is going to be a problem, namely the county. Our Amarachi Uche has more on the preparations there.
Many beach trips to Hatteras Island have now been cut short after Dare County issued mandatory evacuation orders ahead of Hurricane Erin. A trip to Hatteras Island, years in the making.
My brother, he's been coming down here for 15 years, so he's been asking me to come down, and this year I put in for a vacation to come down with him.
Cut short by Hurricane Erin as Dare County issued a mandatory evacuation for the island.
People hear evacuation, they think a storm's going to hit them directly, and they're thinking that since this one's not going to hit us directly, it's not going to be a problem. Well, it's going to be a problem.
The county in a state of emergency as Erin is projected to bring life-threatening impacts to the coastline. County Manager Bobby Outen says coastal flooding and ocean overwash are expected to begin soon, making portions of Highway 12 on Hatteras Island impassable for several days. Other concerns are rising for the only way to get onto the island. The wave set to hit the area could take some of the highway into the ocean.
So if you take out pavement, breach the road anywhere along Highway 12, then anything to the south of that breach you can't access.
Visitors in Hatteras Island were told to evacuate beginning at 10 a.m. Monday. Residents must evacuate starting at 8 a.m. Tuesday. Michael Bishop is one of many visitors not giving up on their summer vacation, finding a loophole to stay practically 30 minutes away from the evacuated area.
From Nags Head up, there was no evacuation. So, of course, quick thinking, went on Google, rented another house out.
While Outen says he understands packing up and leaving is unfortunate, it's necessary to keep everyone safe, as Erin is set to pose a major threat to some homes and roads on the island. Officials say they'll keep monitoring Highway 12 so visitors and homeowners can return to the island once it's safe. In Hatteras Island, Amarachi Uche, WITN News.
on the a lot of the construction for months now, almost a year in some cases, especially from Dickinson Avenue right along Evans Street. There's cones everywhere, and then now you're bringing students back, so it's adding more traffic volume, and I'm sure it's frustrating for some of the businesses too, like around the downtown area. I know for a while 5th Street was being worked on, and you know, things are steadily coming together, but anybody that's driving right along Pitt Street or right around Dickinson Avenue, it's going to be closed for at least another few months or so. I think the next like 3 or 4 months. So yeah, we got a while to go.
We do. But what we don't have a while to go for is Hurricane Aaron.
That's right. We have a lot to talk about with Aaron. Still, you know, expected to stay offshore, but let's go ahead and take a look ahead at what we're going to be anticipating over the next few days. So again, for this afternoon, less storms. No, at least the rip current risk will be increasing for at least today across all of our area beaches. Once we head into Wednesday and into Wednesday night, notice there you start seeing red. That is a first alert weather day that we've added for Wednesday evening. Due to increasing surf and gusty winds along the coast, Aaron will be still well off the coast, but be making its closest approach towards eastern North Carolina going into Thursday morning, and then eventually recurving off towards the north and the east. And this is where we'll be watching out for high surf and windy conditions across the area. And then eventually Aaron will be making its departure. So we do have tropical storm watches all up and down the Crystal Coast and the northern and southern Outer Banks there in the orange, even down East Carteret County included. So again, we're watching out in these areas for sustained winds of at least 40 miles an hour or greater. In the lighter pink there, that is a storm surge watch, and that encompasses of eastern Carteret County and the Outer Banks and the Pamlico Sound. Right now, Hurricane Aaron not looking too good right now. A lot of the thunderstorms are being blown off towards the south and the east. That's why it's looking quite lopsided. There's a lot of dry air and northwesterly wind shear that's helping to weaken the storm right now. That's why the winds have come down to 110 miles an hour. And even the pressure has increased to 958 millibars. It's moving northwest at 7 miles an hour. As we take a closer look at the water vapor, that darker brown color that you see in the northern part of your screen, just to the north and east of Miami, that's the main culprit that's helping to at least weaken Aaron temporarily. While that is the case, there are signs that as Aaron moves off towards the north over the coming days, it will move into a slightly more favorable environment for strengthening. So wouldn't be surprised if it regains at least Cat 3 status as we go over the coming days. But Aaron is expected to progress towards the north and the east, making its closest approach towards eastern North Carolina late Wednesday night into early Thursday at 115 miles an hour, eventually recurving out to sea as we head into Friday morning, and then eventually becoming a remnant low heading into Saturday and Sunday. What does that mean for us in terms of impacts? Let's go into the specifics, at least timing it out with your hourly forecast. So today, again, light casual breeze, 10 to 15 mile per hour winds. Going into Wednesday morning, again, starting off fairly nice, 10 to 15 mile an hour winds. That's a typical casual breeze in eastern North Carolina, even 20 to 30 mile an hour winds along the coast. Let's get you through around late Wednesday evening. That's when we'll start seeing at least wind gusts approaching close to 30 to 35 miles an hour. Notice Hatteras, because it sticks out further out into the Atlantic, you could see at least tropical storm force winds as early as Wednesday night, increasing close to 60 miles per hour as we head into Thursday morning. Bailey, I have to admit, you know, you're going to be holding your nose pretty much for the Outer Banks going into Thursday morning.
Holding
you start
my nose.
Seeing those, it's an expression for saying it's a close call, close approach.
Goodness, okay.
So we're going to be holding our nose, I would say, for the Outer Banks going into Thursday morning. Notice the stronger wind gradient right off the coast. When you start getting to those darker reds and pinks and purples, that's when we're talking about hurricane force winds. It will literally be missing our coast by as much as 150 to 200 miles, just to go to show you. So at this point, I would say this is, you know, as close as Aaron is likely to get to eastern North Carolina. Further inland, 15 to 25 mile per hour winds likely setting up. But then notice as quick as Aaron makes its closest approach, it'll start making its way off towards the north and the east as we head into Thursday afternoon. Wind gusts exceeding 40 to 50 miles an hour along the Outer Banks. 30 to 40 mile per hour winds likely setting up from eastern Carteret County into Hyde County, into Dare County, into Terrell County. Areas right along and west of Highway 17 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts setting up. And this is going to continue even going into Thursday evening as well as Aaron departures, this because it is a very large system.
So would you say that the coast is going to be seeing tropical storm-like conditions?
Yep.
Okay.
Tropical storm force winds likely setting up definitely along the Outer Banks, both northern and southern Outer Banks. For the Crystal Coast, there will be a small window there, mainly around Thursday morning, but if you notice by Thursday evening, both areas that are sitting at 40 mile per hour winds or higher in terms of wind gusts is confined between Manio and Hatteras. Let's walk you through Friday morning. You see the winds beginning to subside from there. What about wave heights? As soon as today, we'll see wave heights generally around 6 to 8 feet, increasing up to 10 to 15 feet as we head into a late Wednesday evening. We start getting to those lime greens and darker, lighter yellows there. You're talking about 20-foot waves. Can't rule out a rogue few waves around 20 to 25 feet or so off of the coastal waters of Hatteras. For inland areas or for areas near the immediate coastline, we're talking 10 to 15 footers. As quick as it arrives, it will start to subside as we head into the weekend. Even on Saturday, we could still be talking about waves around 6 to 10 feet in several spots. And then we got to also discuss the coastal flood hazard, the storm surge risk, 2 to 4 foot inundation along Highway 12, right along Manio down towards Hatteras. Once we start going towards the Sounds, we're talking up to 2 feet. Honestly, 2 feet is the worst case scenario. I'm thinking several inches to a foot at most for several of these locations. So nothing significant for the Sound sign of flooding, but something that we'll definitely monitor as Aaron gets closer. And even for the southern Outer Banks, because Aaron is going to be moving from the south and then kind of recurving away from the Crystal Coast. So 1 to 2 foot inundation, not out of the realm of possibility for portions of Carteret and Onslow counties. So something that we'll watch closely, but overall this is the summary. Inland spots gusts up to 30 miles an hour, Outer Banks east of Highway 17, 50 to 60 mile an hour winds, 10 to 15 foot waves, and then a high risk of rip currents for the most part. Again, rough conditions on the coast, something that we'll be watching as we go over the coming days. Some of the questions that I've been seeing here, let's see some of the questions. Jewel Perkins, what about flooding around Chocowinity Bay? Generally around Chocowinity Bay, I'm calling for around 1 to 2 feet at most. Again, spots further inland along the Sounds, you're going to be faring pretty well from Aaron, because it's not a situation where Aaron's kind of moving south and then kind of recurving off towards the north and the east. This is one of those cases where, or west rather, Aaron is going to sort of approach closest towards Cape Lookout and then recurve off towards the north and the east, away from the Sounds, away from the Crystal Coast. So that's going to allow the water to sort of recede very quickly. Now for the Outer Banks, both the north and the south, it will still be a rough call because Aaron's going to be making his closest approach towards those barrier islands. So again, it really depends on proximity and location. Regardless, this is a system that is going to be sort of brushing the coast and then moving out to sea. As for Hurricane Aaron, we're talking outside of that, we're looking at 2 other systems. One spot has a 60% chance of developing, another area a 30% chance of developing. Next names on the list is Fernand and Gabrielle. So basically at this point the light switch is on. Tropics is definitely in business, and so we'll be watching that as we go over the coming weeks. But for right now, at least for today, spotty thunderstorm chance, high temperatures in the upper 80s, showers increase going into Wednesday, and then heading into Thursday, we'll be watching for another chance for some rain. And then heading into the weekend, particularly Saturday into Sunday, Watermelon Festival looking good. 80s across the board, overnight lows into the middle 60s. First alert weather day, again, starting into Wednesday night and into Thursday.
Yeah, that's really good news, because last week that was not the pattern that we were looking at. We were looking at possibly not seeing a beautiful day on the Watermelon Festival.
Yep.
So I'm happy to say that we will be able to be out there to meet all of you with some nice weather, well deserved.
And you can thank Hurricane Aaron for that.
Oh,
Aaron
wow,
is actually Aaron is sort of, it's like a double-edged sword, right?
It is.
It's like a blessing and a curse in some sense. While Aaron will, obviously provide gusty winds for the coast and rough surf, as Aaron moves away, we're going to have a northwesterly flow. So that's going to allow air to sink east of the mountain range, and that's going to allow rain chances to be minimal just in time for the Watermelon Festival. So, we just got to get through these next few days, and then we got the reward. It's like the risk first, and then the reward comes later on.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Russell. Thank you so much for those updates. And thank you all for joining us for your 10 a.m. news and weather update. You can join us back here at 11 a.m. for more. For now, we hope you enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe.